let your spirit guide me. So now that the first part is over with and I explain where I came up with the name, I've been asked a lot of questions from my friends and family about what am I going to talk about, what am I going to do with this, but you know, who do I hope to get to, things like that. And for today's video, I just kind of want to share my thoughts with that kind of thing. I don't care who this video reaches. I feel that this video is going to reach whoever it's supposed to reach. I'm not worried about algorithms. I'm not worried about, you know, offending anybody, because there's nothing that I'm going to say that's offensive. It is my belief, my thoughts, my healing journey. That is it. If you want advice from me, if you want me to talk to you, I will do that. But that is up to you. It's not forced upon anyone or in any way. Therefore, I'm going to have to research which platforms I'm going to put this on, because I won't censor myself. I'm not going to have to sit here and worry about whether I use the word suicide, because guess what? That is what happened. He committed suicide. And if there is somebody out there who is searching for someone to speak to about suicide, then they should be able to find me. And I shouldn't have to worry about an algorithm of seeing, you know, certain people to have certain views, and that's just too complicated for me. I'm just recording myself. I'm recording myself. I'm going to put it on a platform. Whoever it's supposed to reach, it's going to reach. And that's where it is. I just want to help people, basically. So I guess I'm going to start with the story of his passing, because it is a very unique and very different type of passing. So my son had attempted to take his life several times, and he talked to us openly about this. He actually even told us that he prepared us for when it happened. He was going to research, and he told us about the grief process that we would be facing, because he always told us it's not a question about if it happens, it's a question about when it's going to happen. As a mother, having to live with that every day, not knowing if you were going to walk inside and today was going to be the last day that you got to see your son, or today was going to be the day that you found him, it was tearing me apart, literally. I was so miserable and such a shell of myself. And I hate those those videos that they put out where talking about how you can prevent it from happening, because it's not true. If someone truly wants to take their life, they are going to take their life, and there's not a damn thing that you can do to stop them. Because you think that we didn't try to get him help? You think that we didn't talk to him about it? You think that he wasn't open with us? He was. He was extremely open with us. When the medical examiner came into my living room, after examining the body and going through all his things, she said there was no note. And I said I didn't expect it to be. He said everything that he's needed to say. One of the conversations that we had was about whether or not it was selfish. I told him that he was being selfish, actually. I did. I said, how can you be so selfish? And he looked at me dead in the eye and he asked me, he said, who is being truly selfish? Me for not wanting to live in pain anymore? Or is it you for wanting me to stay living in pain so that way you don't have to grieve? That's something that takes a lot of self-reflection, to actually be able to take what he said in and take it to heart. I also told him that it was the easiest thing in the world to do. He was taking the easy way out, because right, that's what everybody says, it's the easy way out. Once again, he looked at me and he said, Mom, if it was that easy to kill yourself, I'd be dead already. He's like, taking your own life is the hardest thing in the world to do. And he meant it. What he went through was not easy. It was difficult for him. It was difficult for all of us as a family. You know, right before it happened, I thought that things were getting better. I thought that he was finally turning the corner and becoming his old self again. After his passing, I found out that, well, actually, that's a sign that they've made up their mind. Something I didn't know about until then. So maybe I'm getting this message out so that way somebody who's in my situation, who goes through that, knows that if they start getting happy all of a sudden out of nowhere, that's a red flag. You need to pay attention. You need to pay more attention, because that means it's going to happen sooner. We had conversations about, society's stigma around suicide. He said at one point in time that he felt that if there was actually a system in place to where you could have assisted suicide, that it would actually reduce the amount of suicides. Of course, I asked him why, and his response to me was, when people are wanting to go, it's because they feel trapped. It's because they feel that there is no way out. If you actually give them a way out, let's say you put them on a 6-month waiting list, and as they're going through the process, they have to go through counseling. And if any point during that 6 months they say that they don't want to do it, or they have second thoughts, then they have to start the process all over again. He said that would relieve people so much of the burden of thinking that there is no way out, that they would start living their life more fully without the fear of the consequences of the things that they want to do, which would actually reduce the number of people who took their life. And it made so much sense when he said that I knew that I had to get that message out there, because maybe somehow, some way, that message is going to help somebody. I don't know what someone needs to hear. I just know that the person who needs to hear it is going to find this video. I just know that the people who have to hear this message are going to find it. He also one time told me that the reason that people who attempt suicide one time continually attempt suicide is because when you attempt it that first time, it gives you this feeling of wanting to live. And then so you continuously try to do it over and over again, because you're searching for that feeling of wanting to live, until one day that feeling just diminishes and then you succeed. So as he's telling me all this, and I'm looking at my son and having to realize that these are things that he is fighting with every single day, when he finally did pass away, I felt kind of a relief for myself and for him. And that's something that's so hard to admit, because I know that there has to be other women out there, other mothers, other parents, other brothers, everybody that have experienced the guilt of feeling the relief. But I believe that my son is still with me. I believe that he is still all over around me, and he expresses himself. He shows up for me. He does. And it's something that you just have to believe within yourself and open your mind to, because that's something across the board. Anyone who's passed in any way, shape, or form, they're out there, and they are trying to reach you. They are trying to show you that they're there. It's just whether or not we want to open up our minds to see it. So, with that being said, here's the second video of podcast 1221 with Priestess Cheyenne.